Hello everyone, this is Ron Simplified Myers. Today we want to cover a little bit about the purpose and history of life insurance. So what we're going to do is begin with the reason for buying life insurance. The purpose behind life insurance is if there are people that are depending on you, whether it's family, friend, whatever the case may be, where there's someone depending on you financially, then there's a risk that is now in place because if something should happen to you, they could be devastated, right? Because they're dependent on you financially. So because there is a risk involved, you will now try to figure out, if you're a responsible person, you would try to figure out how do I cover that risk to make sure that my family or whoever, again, that's dependent on my income will not be devastated if something should happen to me. Well, you start to think, and the life insurance industry has already figured it out. What we'll do is we'll take on that risk for you. So that's when a person turns around and says, well, I'll buy some life insurance so that I can transfer that risk to the insurance company. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's the reason for buying the life insurance, is to transfer the risk to someone else. Because you don't have any cash to begin with, so somebody's got to cover that for you. So also in this particular time, while you're covering that, you want to start to invest. The reason is because the reason why you bought this life insurance is because you didn't have cash, right? So you want to start to invest so that eventually you can accumulate cash, and then this risk would actually start to disappear, or in the process of accumulating that cash, the reasons for having it disappear. And by that I'm saying, if your kids are grown, they're out of the house, you were trying to cover a mortgage, which is now paid for. But anyway, if all the risks disappear, right, and you have cash, then the need for insurance actually disappears, right? Because the only reason that you got that was because there was a risk involved. Now the risk has been removed, there's no reason for life insurance. Make sense? It's a real simple concept, understanding life insurance. So let me cover real quick about the history. It says 150 years ago, when the industry was just getting its feet on the ground, annual renewable term, and you'll understand that in my next video where I talk about what is annual renewable term, was about all you could buy from a reputable company and large amounts were sold. But annual renewable term created a serious problem for the companies. As the years went by, healthy policyholders tended to drop those policies, in part because their need for life insurance had expired, and in part, see, they expired, your reasons for it have started to disappear, and in part because the annual renewable term policies, with constantly increasing premiums, simply got too expensive. So what it did is that left the not so healthy policyholders who kept the policies because they expected those policies to actually pay off in terms of they were older, so they figured they were going to die soon, and in the reasonably near future, so again, they kept the policies so that their family was taken care of. But as a result of this, the companies found themselves with fewer and fewer policyholders paying premiums to cover more and more death claims. Money paid out by the companies exceeded money paid in, and as you might expect, a number of companies went bankrupt in the process. There was a serious question whether life insurance could survive as an industry. Now, because of that risk, the insurance industry went into the banking business and came up with a program called Whole Life, which we'll cover later, and that's part of, and some of you know it as permanent. But we'll cover that in a later video. This particular book that I read that from is What's Wrong with Your Life Insurance by Norman Dacey. This book was back in 1989 was when it was actually created, but the history is still the same. Doesn't matter how old the book is, the history of life insurance is the history of life insurance. So I hope you got some information out of this. I always, whenever I talk to people, I make sure they understand. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just my opinion. The reason I cover that is because I want you to understand in life, it is up to you to make the decisions for you and your family based on education. So the things that I'm sharing with you today is to give you a little bit of knowledge. You need to extend that knowledge. That way you can make educated decisions, not based on what an agent tells you, not based on what a company tells you, but because of the fact that you have now equipped yourselves in order to make the best decisions. So this is Ron Simplified Meyer signing off as your partner in success. Take care and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.